I want to thank everybody for being here at the Building Your Legacy webinar. And I'd like to introduce the various people that you're going to hear from tonight. First, me, I'm Ryan Joy, a travel agent with Creating Magic Vacations. I focus heavily on Disney destinations, including Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland in California, Aulani in Hawaii, Adventures by Disney. But did you know that National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions is in that family too? And through this expedition travel, I'm able to help people experience the most exotic, once in a lifetime destinations out there. And I love spending my time doing that. In addition to that, my wife Maggie and I either worked or lived in Annapolis, Maryland, for more than a decade before we moved to Florida. And it was in that time that Adam Griffin from Northwestern Mutual took on the role as sort of my like chief retirement officer. So for for my family. So he's with us here tonight to spend some time talking about building your legacy from the financial side of the house. I was in my late 20s, maybe early 30s, when we told Adam that we wanted to retire at the age of 50. It was a hard line for us. And what's been great about that is working with Adam, we've kind of had a plan for that the whole time, a roadmap to that goal, and we could always tell whether we're on track or not. And that peace of mind is super critical because without that foundation, we can't begin to talk about other fun stuff like the amazing world-class vacations that Brent Centlivre is here to talk about. Brent's going to show us how these trips with National Geographic Lindblad expeditions are memorable in ways that other trips simply aren't. That's why they're a powerful tool that you can use as a memory maker. Remember when mom and dad or grandma took us on that amazing trip to Antarctica or the Galapagos or Alaska, etc. That's really powerful stuff, and your family won't forget those moments. And that's why something as simple as a vacation can not only, lead to lasting memories, but it can also inspire people to go into like STEM education or conservation or just go out and see the world. So that's my big preamble, and I'm going to sort of the order of proceedings tonight is I'm going to pass it over to Adam, who's going to talk about the financial component, and then once Adam's done, we'll kick over to Brent, and he'll talk about the National Geographic Lindblad component of the legacy building. So, Adam, over to you.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much for that introduction. That was kind of you, and I think I'm going to probably put Chief Retirement Officer in my email signature moving forward. I really, really like that one. Thanks for having me, and I'm also acutely aware that I am very much the appetizer and that the main course is coming. So I'm going to keep it brief. I'm supposed to be delicious and not last that long. Um, one of the things that I experienced as a younger person was one of my father-in-law's friends generously offered at my father-in-law's wedding to host us in Whistler, Canada for a ski trip. And at 29 years old, that was like a major bucket list item for me. And it was something that I really never had the opportunity or even thought about doing. And he said, we have a timeshare that we can offer you, and you can actually just come with us and stay for free. Get your flight, get your lift ticket, and you can come with us. And I was trying to be polite and I declined it three times. And he finally called me and said, you're coming, right? And so booked the flight, and my wife and I went up there and did that. And when I got there, I met his entire family. He had his daughters, his son-in-laws, a couple grandkids. And that just wasn't something that we did a lot of in my family growing up. I mean, we had, little family vacations to the beach or something, but big trips wasn't a part of my upbringing at all. And that was such a cool experience to see the way that he kind of gave to his family and gave to others. And that is going to be his legacy. And when I asked him why he did that, he said something that I now repeat quite often with clients of mine when they talk about this exact topic, taking their family on trips or doing things like this. He said, I'd rather my family receive from a warm hand and not a cold one. And that really resonated with me to be able to do things during your lifetime and have experiences with your family, and with the people that you care about. So, kind of a quick story to sort of set the table as to why when Ryan reached out to me, this was something I really was interested in doing and talking about. Well, that's all fine and well, but the unfortunate part about this is all these things cost money, right? And my role is to help make sure people can do these sorts of things without running out of money or without, putting themselves in a negative position. And one of the concepts that I talk about, and it's going to be really my primary focus for tonight, is a base income versus a discretionary income. So what I mean by base income is things you have to have, right? Bills that come due no matter what. Food, fuel, insurance costs, healthcare, property taxes, mortgage if you still got it, whatever it is that keeps the lights on month over month, right? And then we have discretionary income. And discretionary income is where you get to call Ryan and say, hey, where am I going next year? Right? Um, a lot of people, they tell me, my clients tell me this all the time. They're like, I was really nervous to make this phone call because, I'm going to ask you for $25,000 for a vacation. And I just don't want you to like shame me for it. And that is like, that could not be further from the truth. When people call me and they ask for money, I'm so excited because I'm like, you're going to do something you've always wanted to do, and I'm privileged enough to help you make that happen. So, if any of you are clients on here, if you feel guilty for calling me, please don't, right? But the concept of a base income is, obvious, right? We just talked about what that is. We want to make sure that base income comes from passive income sources that you can't outlive. And what are those, right? We've got the obvious, we've got Social Security. For those of you who are fortunate enough to have a pension in the, greater DC area, we've got a lot of federal workers who have their first pension or sometimes their old civil service pension. That's a base income because that can't go away. We have rental income from, real estate. That's kind of sort of a base income because there's a human element to that. Obviously, the tenants have to continue to pay you, but for the most part, we can count that. And then we have some sort of an annuity platform if appropriate, right? So what we do when we do retirement planning for people who are within a decade of retirement, we don't do this for anybody who's outside of that, is we figure out what are your base income sources, right? So we tabulate all of those things. And then we figure out, do we have a gap or a shortfall or do we not, right? If we have a shortfall, we can plan for that. We can reposition some assets and put you in a position where you have that income no matter what. We also want to make sure it adjusts for inflation. And then after that, that allows us to tailor the rest of your plan toward discretionary and legacy spending. I kind of put those in the same category, right? So discretionary spending is fun stuff, but legacy is not just leaving money behind after you're gone, right? Legacy is obviously the whole giving from a warm hand and not a cold one too. So it allows you to be more flexible when times are good and be able to give to your family and go on trips and do fun stuff. And it also allows you to leave more money behind at the end because you can be more aggressive with your portfolio. You don't have to be quite so conservative and worry so much about the ups and downs of the market, right? So I am going to yield because there's a lot more fun stuff than that. If anybody wants to have a deeper conversation about that specific topic or any others, Ryan's going to drop my contact info into an email. We do a lot of work with the kind of 50 to 75 demographic. I'm 44 years old. I got kids that put through college, so I'm going to be here to see you through most of your retirement. And we're actively working on a second generation advisor. So we truly are a legacy firm that can carry you through the duration of your life. So thanks for having me. I'll get the boring stuffs out of the way. Let's talk about fun places with Brent and Ryan now.
Thank you, Anna. I think so that I think you set it up well with your story in the beginning. I think you kind of we've all been kind of leading, and now Brent, it's your job to wow everybody.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, the pressure is on. Thank you. I really appreciate it. As Ryan shared, my name is Brent Centlivre, and I work at National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions. And when Ryan brought up the concept of legacy, I instantly thought of my grandma, because I live here in Orlando, Florida, and I spent 28 years working at Disney. And a good reason why is because my grandma in like fourth grade called me and was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Walt Disney World?" And I'm like, "No, I have no desire to go to Walt Disney World." But I'm like, thought, well, yeah, I do. That sounds cool. I've always wanted to go to the Magic Kingdom. And so I did. So I Went to Walt Disney World, had an incredible experience. I remember it's not the California Grill as it is now, but on top of the Contemporary Resort, I remember having these crab legs, and I remember just the butter oozing down my fingers and how that made me feel, and how everybody made me feel special. We went to Disneyland, we went to the Bahamas, we did all sorts of things, and that's the joys of being an only child, only grandchild. It was great. And I think about that often because part of the reason why I worked at Disney was because of those memories. The memories that I had with my grandma going to Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And so when I think about what I do now, the trips I'm going to talk about today is, going to places like Antarctica or the Galapagos or Alaska, and that ability to create memories with your kids or your grandkids is really special. And for us, and I worked at Disney Cruise Line for a long time, and we would sell it quite honestly as, hey, we've got a whole ship, a whole deck for kids. You can check your kids in there, not see them until dinner. And, I thought that was nice. That's a nice way to position it. And when I look at it now for National Geographic, it is no, no, no. We want you to be with your family. We want you together creating memories and going out there and hiking and kayaking. So, no, they're not going to be in the kids' room on an iPad. They're going to be making memories with grandpa or their mom or their dad. And I think that's certainly something that is really, really special. And the big story for what I'm going to share tonight is, I know for those of you that have worked with Ryan, and maybe you have been on a number of different cruises or different experiences, and even a Disney Cruise Line, which is, again, a fantastic product. You're going to see with 3,000, 4,000. I think their newest ship in Asia is 6,000 people. Our ships are 100 people. I went to Baja, California with 35 people. We've got ships that are only 8 rooms. So, Adam, if you have clients that are celebrating a legacy birthday or a legacy anniversary, they can charter this 8 room catamaran in the Galapagos. And that's when you start thinking, oh my gosh, to go to these places where there's only 35 people, 100 people, that's amazing. So I want to share that with you because I think this is a different, what I'm going to talk about today is not normal. Royal Caribbean, Virgin Voyages, Norwegian get the spotlight, right? They spend a lot of money on advertising, it gets people excited. But I think what we'll talk about today is something that gets people even more intrigued because they're like, oh my gosh, to immerse myself in places like Alaska or Iceland, that to me sounds incredible. And to be able to do that with family would be even better. So I want to get everybody in the mood. So I'm going to share a wonderful video that I think you will all enjoy.
Close your eyes and imagine a place where nature writes the story, where waves break on remote island beaches, where wildlife isn't afraid, where the trees are home to birds you've never seen before, where whales breach the water's surface and dolphins leap into the air. Imagine yourself face to face with these wonders, with wild, unscripted magic. This isn't a documentary. This is your next great adventure. This is Expedition Cruising with National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions.
All right, well, outside of all of your doors, there's an Uber. Let's go. Let's go to the Galapagos. Just really, really cool. I've probably seen that video 100 times, and every time I see it, I'm like, man, that is incredible. Just to give you a little backstory, our company was founded by Lars Eric Lindblad, And his whole mission, his legacy, if you will, was to create what now became kind of that ecotourism. In 1958, he created the company and said, I want to take people to the most remote places on Earth so they'll feel impassioned to talk about them and protect them. And so he took the first group of tourists ever to Antarctica in 1966. And I don't know how you convince people to do that. I mean, that's hard to do now. So I can't imagine in the mid 60s. And then he took the first group of tourists ever to Galapagos in 1967. And then his son, Sven, took over the company and expanded our fleet, expanded the destinations where we go. What I was really impressed to see is we own and operate 12 ships. So our biggest is just 81 rooms. Our smallest is 8. And then we also charter ships. So what that means is there's certain places on Earth that our guests say, hey, we want to go, but Lindblad may not have a ship that goes there. So we will take over an entire ship, we will buy it out, and then bring our National Geographic Lindblad staff on board. And that might be going down the Nile or going through the Amazon or India. This year and next year, we're going to be doing the Rhine River and then the Danube River, which will be really exciting. So when we talk about where we go all over the world, from the Northwest Passage in Canada to Patagonia to Egypt, India, all over the place. It's really pretty amazing. But for this conversation, I just want to kind of focus kind of on our big five. This is probably the reason why you would call Ryan is because of one of these 5 destinations. The first one is Antarctica. As I said, we've been going there for 60 years. And then just last year, we said, hey, why don't we start to offer a fly the Drake passage option? So many of you may have been on TikTok or Instagram and you type in Drake Passage and you see, whoa, that's crazy being able to sail from South America down to Antarctica. So what we now offer is flights. So you can fly over and meet the ship. You can fly there and sail back or sail there and fly back, whatever combination. It's really nice because it also gives you the ability to fit in Antarctica into a tighter timeline. The other thing that's great too is I shared is having smaller ships because there are a number of ships, number of cruise lines that go to Antarctica, but they're too big, so not everybody can get off the ship. I'd be pretty mad if I spent tens of thousands of dollars to fly at the end of the earth and I can't take this picture. So our biggest ship is only 148 guests. And so everybody can get off and take this picture. Take this picture with the penguins. Just absolutely amazing. And our ships, for those that want to sail the Drake Passage, those are our big polar class 5 ships that are custom built to go through the ice. And that's certainly something that is, a special thing for us. The next big destination for us is the Galapagos. This is really, really cool. I was absolutely amazed. And I think that this video does a really good job of giving a good overview of the Galapagos.
This is amazing. It is a special place. It's funny, you see that one slide of
the sea lions. Here I am. I mean, literally, these sea lions are everywhere. I mean, this is me stepping over them in order to get into the Zodiac. Um, for those people that don't know much about the Galapagos, and quite honestly, up until a year ago before I went, I knew nothing. I knew it was somewhere outside of South America. The way I describe it is imagine going to Hawaii before there were people. So, I mean, there's no Piggly Wigglies or Publix or Winn-Dixies. There's no hotels. There is no trash. You are in a place that 95% of it is a national park. And so, of all these islands, and I use Hawaii as an example because they're volcanic islands. I mean, you've got places that look like volcanoes, and you get to walk along the ocean. It's just stunning. And the Ecuadorian government has limited it. So all of those islands that you see, only 100 people are allowed per day on the island. So they really preserve that to keep this incredible, to keep this conservation and preservation alive and well. And then you saw the video. I mean, it is like snorkeling in an aquarium when you go to the Galapagos. It is really, really stunning. And for us, we have 4 ships that go there year round. So this is a deeply personal location for Lindblad, and including the Gemini. Look at this. And Ryan's going to talk about this later because he's got a special sailing with us. We'd love the opportunity to host all of you on the Gemini. But if those dates don't work, we do have 3 other ships, including the Catamaran, the Delfina, the Islander 2, that is our all-suite product, and the Endeavor 2, which is our biggest ship at 52 rooms. Just 96 guests are on board. Galapagos is very close to Peru, and people want to go to Machu Picchu. So that is certainly something that we can add on for you as well. The Arctic is big for us as well. I'm excited I get the opportunity to go next month. Get to be able to go to Iceland and Greenland. So I'm excited to go. So those are places that we go along with the Northwest Passage of Canada, Svalbard, Norway, for people that want to see the polar bears. And then just the landscapes that you see there and even the animals. I have to put in a picture of walruses because walruses, you don't hear a lot about them, right? Puffins get all the glory, polar bears do, but walruses, I think, are the coolest looking. So you get that opportunity to see those as well. So really, really special. And one of the things I saw was with Iceland, especially, I'm sure, Adam, up in the mid-Atlantic and throughout the country, there's a lot of direct nonstop flights to Reykjavik. When I fly, they've got a direct nonstop from Orlando right into Reykjavik. So Iceland has done a tremendous job to get a lot of tourists from the US to go over there. So it makes it very, very accessible to go. Baja California is another great destination. I had the opportunity to go in December, and literally there were only 35 people on board my sailing. And if you go in kind of the January, February, March timeframe, that's when the whales migrate. So you get to see absolutely incredible pictures and get to have incredible moments there. This is a really cool overview of the area because a lot of people don't know much about Baja California, and that's kind of what we're in the business of doing, is taking you to places you don't hear much about. So this isn't the Cabo San Lucas side of Baja. It's the other side where the Gulf of California is.
We are here in Baja California Sur, experiencing some beautiful islands and beaches. But the highlight is definitely the gray whales.
It's a magical place in that you're in a desert, and yet you see more species of marine mammals than you get to see in any one place, and the light is just spectacular.
We have exploration up high on the land. We can get great views all around the area.
You will find the Peninsula of Baja California will offer you hundreds of opportunities to be in touch with nature, and that's something that we all need.
mean, just electric sunsets as they shared. I mean, it's pretty wild to literally be on the water on an expedition. And then when you land, you're on the desert and you get the opportunity to hike up mountains. I mean, you're not getting that in many places in the world. The last place I wanted to highlight was Alaska. And I know a lot of you probably have been there. Probably most of you on big ships. And I think that we have got an incredible value proposition when it comes to Alaska. And there's a couple of really key reasons. Number one, small ships. Again, you can go to Alaska with 5,000 people, but your experience is going to be way different than if you're with us, where two of our ships that go there are only 100 people max. So you get to kayak, you get to hike up the fjords and glaciers. You get that opportunity to see kind of those nooks and crannies and channels you just can't get to on the big ships. So that's number one, small ship. Number two, as with all of the journeys I've talked about, all of our activities, all of our shore excursions are included. They're all included. So sometimes you go on a cruise, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, now I got to spend another $5,000 just to walk off the ship? Are you kidding? Not with us. It's all included. So that's great. The other thing too that's really neat is that our two of our ships that are there are flagged United States, which is pretty neat because you don't have to start in Canada or you don't have to stop in Canada. You can fly directly into Alaska. So Ryan's actually going to be doing a group with us flying right into Sitka and flying, and then we sail to Juneau. So really nice. And what that also enables us to do is that it's the same Lindblad expedition team with you all week. On the big ships, every day when you get off the ship, oh, you're with a different travel company. Oh, but I don't know these people. Not with us. It's the same consistent team. And why that's important is because our type of guest geeks out that they get to hang out with National Geographic talking about grizzly bears or finding a special bird that they want to see. And it's our team that they can have coffee with, they can take pictures with, they can really learn from those guides that are on board. We also next year are going to be adding the Greg Mortimer. And this is really a special addition to our fleet. This is what Ryan will be taking a group on next year. This is something that we are chartering, and we actually have got this will be sailing out of Vancouver. But what's cool is we've got a special dispensation. So we got the ability to use our staff on board to be able to do all of the shore excursions, all of the activities as we do for all of our Alaskan guests. Here's just some of the pictures of the rooms and some of the common areas on board. Really, really well appointed ship. I also just wanted to highlight that we also go to Europe. For many of us who have been to Europe on a cruise or are going maybe this summer, and you pull into a port like Santorini and there's 5 big ships and you're all competing to get up that hill or coming down the hill with the donkeys, you're like, this is tough. But that's what's nice when you're on a small ship like Lindblad, where we're able to go into cities, countries, ports that the big ships can't get into. So you can go to places like Montenegro or certain cities in Croatia that the bigger ships don't go to. So again, provides you that kind of neat experience that you can't get with anybody else. All right. So a lot of people might be wondering, okay, hey, expedition, tell me more about what the expectations are. Do I need to be a triathlete in order to be on board? I'm going to go through all that right now because I know those are things that I questioned when I first joined the company. So first, what does your day look like on board? As I joke, if you are a guest who's like, hey, I want to take a cruise and I'm going to get the drink package and I'm going to drink all week at the pool, you're probably not our guest. We appeal to people that want to be active. They want to be up like this. Breakfast at 7. You're going to do 2 rounds of activities before lunch. Might do a seminar. There might be another activity before right around sunset. Then there's a briefing, and then there's dinner. It is active. Now, you don't have to do the activities. Usually when we talk about activities, you have the choice of 2 to 3 activities at each activity period. So maybe that's kayaking or stand-up paddle boarding or just a hike. But during that briefing, every day, conveniently during happy hour, um, we talk to you about what we're going to do tomorrow. And I live in a city, Orlando, where every hike is flat. Every place in Florida is flat. So for me, when I hear the word hike, I'm like, great, nice and easy, nice and flat. But as I shared, we go to places on Earth where you might be going up a mountain. So we are very, very intentional about putting in writing, hey, here's the 3 hikes that we're going to offer tomorrow. There's an easy hike, there's a medium hike, and there's a hard hike. And we provide you with, we put it in writing, we show you pictures, and we talk about it at this briefing. So what I really liked about that is I thought about my father-in-law, Pop, and I thought about my mom, who's in her 80s, and I thought, oh, that would be great because they're going to want to know what they're signing up for. And so we are very deliberate in sharing what those activities look like. A big misconception I get from some people is, oh my gosh, I've got to be a world-class athlete. And quite honestly, because our activities are very inclusive and, we skew older. I mean, it's, people in their 60s and 70s are purchasing us in general. It's kind of the average. And you know what? If you can walk up a flight of stairs or you can walk your dog for 10 minutes, you would be fine. Of course, if you love being able to walk up a mountain like a mountain goat, we've got things for you too. But this isn't something that is going to be overwhelming. There's plenty of activities to be included for everyone. The other thing that I had the misconception of too was, the word expedition just kind of sounds dirty, but I really appreciated the fact that we really provide these incredible resources, incredible opportunities because you're spending a lot of money on this. And we know that. And so we want to make sure that we provide well-appointed rooms, well-appointed common areas, make it very clean and tidy. That's what we do. And that's the expectations of our guests, right? You're spending a lot of money and time to be with us. You want to have a vacation. And then, of course, food is a big one on board too. What's the food like? People ask. Well, we did a really focused job on hiring wonderful chefs. And what they do is they source all of our food locally. So we work with local farmers, local bakers, local fishermen, and they prepare the food. So it's really, really fresh. And if you have any kind of dietary concerns, much like if you go to Disney World, just talk to the chefs, and our chefs will know what those restrictions might be. They will come out every day and make sure that what they're serving you aligns with your dietary restrictions. And as I shared before, what's great is that our shore excursions activities are all included. Wi-Fi is included, alcohol's included, meals and snacks, everything. So it really kind of takes the stress out of your vacation experience because after you've been snorkeling or hiking, you just want to have a glass of Chardonnay and just go to bed, and you want that Chardonnay to be for free. The other thing too that I thought was really cool is that we offer family programs, our National Geographic Explorers in Training. And this is where, when we talked about legacy, this is where I was talking about is creating those sorts of memories in Antarctica or Iceland or Alaska with your family.
The Global Explorers Program is trying to help kids get more integrated into the experience in a variety of ways. Plankton toes, to learning how to drive a Zodiac, to solving riddles, to learning from the different naturalists about the geology, the history, the wildlife.
It gives them a great opportunity to understand everything about the web of life, and at the same time, they're doing all of that while having fun.
And I think that's certainly something that's great. And that's what parents are drawn to is that, oh my gosh, I don't want my kid on an iPad. I want them in nature. I want them to be inspired by National Geographic. I want them learning and talking and being in these different environments. And that's something that you can provide because, hey, the market's done fantastic over the last 3 or 4 years. This is something you've got the money to be able to spend. It's an incredible opportunity to create that great warm handoff, that warm-handed legacy with your kids or grandkids. Our exploration, we do a bunch of hikes, as you can imagine. You can do kayaking with your significant other, stand-up paddle boarding. Oh, there's another thing that I thought was really cool is that we actually have a open bridge policy. So at any time during the day or night, you can go in and talk to the captain. You can talk to the crew. Now, On most ships, if you did that, they'd probably throw you in the brig. For us, we encourage it. We hire people that want to tell stories. And I think about my father-in-law, Pop Pop, who is a retired Navy veteran. And I think, how cool would that be for him to be able to go and talk to the captain of the ship about navigating a polar class 5 ship through Antarctica, talking about the new navigation equipment. That might be his highlight for the entire vacation, is that moment with the captain. Certainly, photography is incredibly huge for us. We have certified photographers on every one of our voyages. And then we also offer an iPhone class. Yeah, one of our seminars, yeah, they take out your iPhone. It's a 2-hour class on how to take better pictures. And my wife reminds me of this woman that we sailed with, who we probably know someone like this in our life, who is, probably in her late 70s, and she doesn't like taking pictures because she doesn't take good pictures. She takes this class, and then, you could see literally during the week, she'd have more and more confidence. Oh, these are things I learned. And at the end of your vacation at Lindblad, every guest gets to submit 5 pictures, and we do a big slideshow at the end. And it was pretty miraculous that that woman, her pictures had some of the biggest applause. And that was because she took one class, learned how to take better pictures, and now she's got something that she learned for life. And that what I thought was just so endearing, just watching her and watching that transformation of that woman. For us, we love people that love nature. That's what we love to do. But we also love solo travelers. This is something really big, especially as people age, because maybe your spouse is no longer with us, or maybe they don't want to travel. They're like, listen, we did enough traveling. I don't want to go anymore. Great. We offer solo rooms, and we do not charge a solo supplement. So they're smaller rooms, so they're not as big as a regular size room, but you're not paying twice as much money to go. That's something that's important to us. And about 10% of our travelers are solo. And certainly that is something that Ryan can help you with. Families and multi-generational groups, of course, is huge for us. That's certainly something that is big. I also look and say that, our typical guest, those are people that love the outdoors. That's where they get their joy. They're well-traveled, and they're lifelong learners. They're people that love to be able to, continuously learn. They get, they're in that mindset. Maybe they're doctors or lawyers, or they just love documentaries and love reading. That's our type of guest. So for me, it's just been really fun working for Lindblad because I get the opportunity to share all of these wonderful things that we do. And so for me, I want to just end by saying that we'd love the opportunity to be able to host you if there is that opportunity. What I also will mention as well is that some people on this call, I think, Ryan, you've got a couple of existing clients on board, but I'm in the travel industry space, and my friends are like, gosh, I didn't even realize travel agents were still around. And I stop them and say, you know what? They provide tremendous value. And I'll give you just 2 easy examples. Number one, for us at Lindblad, and I know a lot of my other competitors and places I've worked, we provide, incredible offers that only are available to people like Ryan. So that's number one. So they're getting and providing you offers that you cannot get direct. That's number one. But number 2, which I think is the most important, is he saves you time. I mean, that's something that's huge. People that are spending this kind of money for trips don't have a lot of time. And maybe they're like me and they're passionate about, researching destinations and, combinations of things. But Ryan is a pro. Ryan can help you save time for doing that. And then the other thing that I love is that Ryan's got an incredible network of people like me that he can rely on saying, hey, I've got someone looking at Antarctica. What's something that might line up for what this guest is trying to accomplish? So if you haven't worked with Ryan or a travel advisor, I really suggest that you do, because it's a neat opportunity to be able to have someone that is an expert and can help you save time. So Ryan, I really, really appreciate you putting this together. Adam, thank you. I got to figure out how I don't even want to look at my 401k balance. I want to say, hey, I'm going to save that because I'm going to spend more money on trips and buy a place out in Banff so I can invite my family.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you, Brent. I hope everybody got a really good idea about sort of the National Geographic difference, the Lindblad difference when it comes to, you know, some of these. Like we talked about Alaska. Alaska is a place that everybody's gone to, or that everybody's had the opportunity to go to anyway. But it's so different. You could just those pictures that Brent was sharing, where you could see the people kayaking, and there was a grizzly bear like in the background, right? Like you don't have that when you're taking a big ship cruise. And I love big ship cruising, and I'm gonna do a big ship cruise to Alaska. I was telling Brent earlier today, I'm doing that in August. But there's something amazing about these small ship opportunities and what they can offer that the other ones don't. And I think with that in mind, I am going to share, Brent had alluded to it a little bit. I do have a couple of groups with National Geographic um, for 2027, and one of them is Alaska, and it is on the Greg Mortimer, which Brent shared a couple of pictures of, and it goes from Sitka to Vancouver, and I mean the imagery I think is enough right there. But the starting price is on the screen. You can see that it is a reduced price from what's available to the public, and I mean I think this will just be incredible. I mean, look at the wildlife. You've got orcas, you've got bald eagles, you've got grizzly bears. That's not usually in the marketing for the big ships because uh, you know they would love for you to see these things, but they're really more going to show you a picture of a helicopter on a glacier or something like that, and then know that while the price you see here may seem a little elevated, you aren't paying for anything else. Like that's your price. There's no excursions, the additions like that. Um, so I think this is an amazing trip. June next year, I'll be on it. Anybody wants to join me, you know my contact information. The other trip that I have is the Galapagos, and it's Galapagos Escape next September in 2027, and it is aboard the Gemini, which I know Brent stopped to and hovered over for a few seconds. 48 passengers, and you've got so you can see the blue-footed boobies, and you've got the giant tortoise, the seals here. The Galapagos for me is I have not been yet, and I cannot wait to go. The fact that these animals, A, are not afraid of you, B, they're super unique and you can't see them anywhere else. I am so excited. I feel like it's got to be the greatest wildlife experience in the Western Hemisphere, if not the world. I'd put it there with safaris in Africa, right? Like it's the same type of variety, the same uniqueness. It's aquatic based, you know. So those are the two groups, and the starting price at the Galapagos, I think, is really good. And there are solo rooms on the Gemini, and the ship is wide open for booking. So if you're interested in either destination, do let me know. If you're interested in any of the things that we've talked about tonight, Antarctica, that kind of thing, let me know, and we can get you lined up. And if you need help with the financial part, we can have Adam look at your numbers. He can help you decide whether or not you can actually go on the trip. So I think with that, I want to make sure that people have time to put questions in the chat box. I'm going to stop the screen share here so that I can see the chat box. But if you have questions for any of us, any of the three of us, please put them in the chat box or come off mute and talk to us. Either one is fine. So, Adam, any last minute thoughts? I see you came off mute.
I mean, sure. The one thing I will share is I have been to the Galapagos and I almost get emotional thinking about it. It's actually 5 years ago in a couple of weeks. It is the most special place I've ever seen in my life. And, I think people throw around the term that was life-changing way too often. That truly was. So do yourself a favor and go.
There you go. All right, I'm not seeing many questions come in, but if you have questions after the fact, let me know. I know there were some people that registered that weren't able to attend. It has been recorded. We're gonna send out the recording along with contact information for both me and Adam, and Brent already shared his. So for sure there too. And with that, I think that's a wrap on the evening. So thank everybody for joining, and have a great rest of the evening.